Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. It is Ian and Tom back, and we are covering the League One. We are doing some crazy predictions. We believe it's week 37, but who knows anymore because this season has just been thrown into anarchy with made-up fixtures, delayed fixtures. Who knows what's going on? Before we get started on this, I'd just like to say, please hit the like button if you're watching this. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you've got the notify bell on. And if you really like us, check out the link below for Patreon. But that's enough. That's enough selling of ourselves. It's disgusting and, it's poor form. Ian, let's get into the first game. It's Accrington Stanley hosting Wigan Athletic.
I would love to talk about this game, but I had a rare win in predictions, which is like fucking hen's teeth. And don't do that face. I have to sit through week after week of you winning. I had a rare win of, what did I get? 6, 7, 8 points to whatever you got. But I'm still down by 1. But at least I won something. It's like 2 months, I think, since I've won a predictions round. And it fucking feels like it. My God. So hopefully more of that today. Hopefully backing against teams like the woeful Accrington Stanley. Don't fucking time me, son. Doing that. Yeah, I saw you. The woeful Accrington Stanley coming up against a resurgent Wigan Athletic. Accrington are all over the place at the moment, but it's surely only a matter of time before they get their season back on track. But I think this one might be a draw, Thomas. I'm going to put this one down as a nice Desmond to start the weekend off. 2-2.
Yeah, so Accrington Stanley's form is completely fallen apart. They're now dropped down to 13th. I think it was about 5 weeks ago where they were in 7th place, and I was talking about how close they were to Sunderland and how they're going to track them down, and they are going to be this year's Wickham. And it hasn't fallen apart by any stretch. They're still only 5 points off the playoffs because of how nuts the season is. But yeah, they've fallen down the league pretty seriously. Wigan, on the other hand, on the back of some decent results, also known as 3 games without a loss, they're now up to 20th. They've jumped out the relegation zone. Northampton and Wimbledon have dropped below them. We already knew Rochdale and Swindon were on a highway to League 2, and they are getting there as quickly as humanly possible. But really great results for Wigan. A draw, I think, this week, wasn't it? And, you see them fighting. You got to go with a draw. I'll go the 1-1 draw.
Yeah, it was a draw for Wigan, but it was one they felt they probably should have held on to. They conceded like an equaliser with 10 minutes to go, but I think a draw sounds about right. But we move on to the side that did get that draw against Wigan. AFC Wimbledon versus Charlton Athletic.
Ian, I'm going to let you talk about the previous matches. I'm just going to talk about where these teams sit in the table. So AFC Wimbledon, a team we thought would get relegated, are firmly entrenched in the relegation zone now. They do have a game in hand over rivals Northampton, Wigan, and Bristol, and they can go above them with a win. But
which Bristol side?
Bristol Town.
Oh, okay. Because you didn't clarify it, so I wasn't sure.
Sorry. Yeah, it's my fault. There are so many Bristols in the League One. Charlton Athletic, on the other hand, flew back up the table with a win today. They are in 6th place. They're on 55 points, 2 above the mighty Yellows of Oxford. They've righted the ship, and they are going quite strong and looking like they're going to push the playoffs. I see them winning this. 2-1.
But they are managerless, though, Thomas. Let us not forget the managerial changes that happened this week. Lee Bowyer has jumped ship. After weeks of speculation, he's finally seen Birmingham City as a good fit. What a crazy man! I'm going to say.
What is with him and Darren Moore? Like, what is this?
Well, I think the conversations went like this. I think they were like, "No, we're both very happy at the clubs we're at." Okay, can I interest you with a big sack of money? Yes. Okay, I will move. So it's. Don't be surprised if Lee Bowyer is out of the job in 3 or 4 months because Birmingham are a bit of a basket case. But Charlton, wonderful result today. 2-0 down against Bristol Rovers. It looked like they were all at sea. Fantastic comeback to win that 3-2. Getting the likes of Foster, Kaski, Shinnie and Washington back in the goals. AFC Wimbledon did scramble to get a point against Wigan, which didn't really do either side too much good in the long run. Certainly not Wimbledon. And I do agree with you, Thomas. I'm looking to Charlton, who have had a big upturn in form lately, to get a win in this one. I'm going to go 1 higher because we don't like to do the same score, do we? 3-1 to Charlton.
My new favourite team, Burton Albion, hosting Milton Keynes Dons.
Well, I'm not gonna stop you from talking about your beloved Brewers, Thomas. So you go ahead and talk about the club from Milwaukee.
Burton are now 7 games undefeated. That's 6 wins and a draw. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is the second coming of... Who's a great
Jimmy
Burton
Floyd
man?
Hasselbank from the first time.
Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the first time. Rarely does a manager come back to a club and do as well, if not better, but he's done exactly that. He's clawed Burton right out. They're now 18th place in the league. They're 8 points above the drop zone. They were bottom of the table for like 3 or 4 months. This is an insane turnaround. This is a club we knew could do better than they were doing. They now are doing better than they were doing, and they've really righted the ship. I mean, yeah, they're 14 points off a playoff place, but I mean, if Jimmy Floyd wins 6 of every 7 matches he coaches, then they could be there very, very quickly.
I think it was a real shock to see them not win today. Considering they were 1-0 up for a long time, it was a real shock to see Blackpool get that equalising goal.
And I'm let down by Blackpool. As much as I like Matt, our Tangerines fan, come on.
You don't like him?
No, obviously not. Really quickly, because I don't need to talk about them too much, MK Dons are only 7 points above this Burton side. They're in 14th. Their form really tailed off after a 1-1 draw with Oxford. They have since righted the ship slightly with 2 wins, but their playoff push has stagnated, and I see this match going badly for them. 2-1 to Burton.
Yeah, they were never in the playoff mix, MK Dons. Let's be fair about it. They were never that good enough. But I do feel like it's talking about your ex-lover and now talking about your present lover when I look at these two sides, Tom. It's you absolutely could not stop lusting after MK Dons at the start of the season, and now you can't stop lusting about Burton, and in particular Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. But he does deserve it. They have been incredible. They absolutely have been. And considering when Oxford played them, they looked a total mess. It really is amazing what he's done. And you're foolish to back against them. I'm going to back Burton Albion as well, and I think it's going to be a 2-0 win for Burton. And good. MK Dons did get a good win today, but as I said, it's just a petering out season for them now. The season's going nowhere. Fleetwood Town versus the side that shall not be named.
Can I just really quickly say that I'm still having a hard time that once Joey jumped ship at Fleetwood, I still kind of just associate him with this team, and obviously with Oxford's terrible run of form until recently against them, I just feel like I shouldn't like them. But they are playing a team that I'm not allowed to like, nor am I allowed to back in a match. Very quickly, we'll talk about the fact Swindon sit bottom of the league, 31 points. They're 3 off safety, but their recent form is abysmal. 4 straight losses. They are absolutely careening out of the league as quickly as they can right now. Fleetwood, on the other hand, have won a bunch of games. Their fans were sat there. We're close to the relegation zone. Oh, God, no. We're the worst team ever. Blah, blah. You had the same team minus Chet Evans. And to be fair, without Joey Barton, they're probably a happier dressing room. So Fleetwood are right back in the promotion hunt. They're only 5 points off the playoffs. 11th place. I see Fleetwood winning this, and I see Fleetwood winning this 2-0.
Are we going to get through predictions of them without you mentioning his name till the end of the season? And what do the good fisherman folk of Fleetwood need to do for you to sort of get rid of the association of Barton?
Burn an effigy of him at the ground.
A wicker man, if you would. Now, the side that shall not be named are sitting bottom of the league, but it does not improve my mood, the fact that you actually mentioned it. It's very unlucky to do that you mentioned their name, so please don't do that again. I also think Fleetwood are going to beat this hapless bunch from down the road. It is going to be Fleetwood Town 3. Don't say it! 0.
Gillingham versus Doncaster Rovers.
Yeah, we'll get to Donny in just a moment after what we've seen today, but full praise to Gillingham. 2 incredible results, one over the club that shall not be named. Back that up with a superb victory up here, right close to me at Sincilbank today. If I looked out my window, Tom, I could have seen ex-Oxford United's Jordan Graham banging in an 87th minute penalty to make it 3-0 to the Gills, and they are throwing their hat in the ring for playoff picture. They are got to be right up there again. A side that is doing their best to throw away all their hard work is Doncaster Rovers. My goodness, what a difference between attack and defence. It was like I was watching Oxford play the Milton Keynes Dons at times today. Very, very good going forward, but useless at the back, and they just didn't learn. Like, the biggest thing about it is, like, I know their fans like to talk about how they adapt to who they're playing against. Well, Oxford like to press, right? Oxford generally press and try and wing the ball back high. Maybe don't pass through it every single time. Maybe try a long ball once in a while. The goalkeeper was shocking, passing the ball up from the back. The defence, the amount of times they just gifted the ball back to Oxford, like middle of the pitch, halfway in their half, was exactly what Oxford needed, because they were short of goals, so it couldn't have come at a better time. And it all looks a little bit of a mess for Donny at the moment. And because of that, never a nice trip to Gillingham. I'm going to go for a Gills win. I think they're going to win 3-1.
Oh, stole my scoreline. Fine, I'll go with 2-1. Very little to add to that. Everything you said is on point. Doncaster, since the Oxford game, were garbage. Managed to right the ship slightly just after...
Since the Oxford game. It's only ended like an hour ago.
Well, then we know they're going to be bad again, based on like the 4 or 5 straight losses they had last time.
He means since they beat Oxford 3-2 about 10 games ago.
They've lost 2 of the last 3. They're in 5th place based on all those points they had earlier in the season. I mean, Oxford are only 3 points behind them, and guess who else is only 3 points behind them? Gillingham. Gillingham to win 2-1.
Northampton Town versus Crewe, Alexandra.
Northampton Town were one of those clubs at the beginning of the season you and I really liked because they were just slightly batting above their average and staying just above the relegation zone. But for the last 2 or 3 months now, it's been a lot of poor form mixed with random results. And the 2 wins in a row are a long time ago now. They lost and drew their last match. They've dropped into the relegation zone. Wigan are even above them. I mean, that was unthinkable a couple of weeks ago. Burton are out of it. Crewe, on the other hand, again, a club we really liked earlier in the season. Really solid, playing decent football. We thought they could make a push to the playoffs, but some really indifferent forms dropped them down. I really fancy Crewe for this, though. I don't think Northampton have it in them to win this, and Crewe are just so solid normally that 1-0 to the Alexandra.
I actually think Crewe, Northampton have been doing all right lately. I mean, they didn't play today, so that's why it kind of gone against them. But they had a 0-0 draw against Doncaster, and I know, like, we just talked about Doncaster, but it's a good result for them. And it wasn't that long ago where they had a really good win as well before that, and they lost narrowly to 2-1 to Charlton, so they're doing okay. And I think they're good enough to get a draw here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think Crewe... I think it's petering out a little bit for Crewe, and I think they're very much like... It's been a long season, and they're just wanting to get to the end now. Plymouth Argyle.
Green Army.
Versus Bristol Rovers. Up the gas!
Bristol Rovers, the chokers extraordinaire. I'll leave you to deal with Joey Barton and his band of reprobates while I quickly cover Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth sits 16th in the table after at least 5 straight losses, possibly more. I can't be bothered to delve deeper into this. A side that we really thought would put a decent push into the end of the season looks like they are on the beach and ready for the season to end. They think they're safe, and they probably are 12 points above the relegation zone at this point. Bristol Rovers, on the other hand, are in a relegation scrap. They sit on equal points with Wigan, 1 point above the relegation zone. And Ian, I believe they had a debilitating loss earlier today.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-0 up against Charlton to come in and lose it 3-2. Man sent off late in the game as well. It's a shocker. I feel that they've still got enough to stay up, though. I feel this was a bit of an aberration of a result, a bit of a shocker, maybe a kick up the backside that maybe they needed as well. It's going to be a tough one going to Plymouth, who themselves are, again, just another one of those sides where it's just petering out and they're not really got much to play for. So I'm going to go for another draw here. I think I'm going to go back-to-back 1-1 draws, and I think that will suit both sides quite nicely.
Ian, just because of our friend Charlie Haynes, I can't believe I'm doing this. I will back Joey Barton and his band of reprobates to beat the Green Army 1-0.
Well, I'm not happy because he gets double mention now on this channel for 2 clubs, one he doesn't even manage anymore. But also, Charlie, if you do watch this, you've got to know how much of an impact that has had on Tom. Your friendship has had on Thomas, because he never would have gone against Plymouth at the start of the season. He was backing Plymouth
100%.
to beat everyone.
Totally underperforming Pompey, Portsmouth, whatever they're called, versus Ipswich Town.
I was wondering which side you were going to read out then. Totally
Ipswich aren't underperforming, they're performing.
Okay, well tell me about them, Thomas.
Well, Ipswich currently sit in 7th. If it wasn't for Carlton's late goals, Ipswich would currently sit in the 6th spot and be in a playoff place. They've finally gotten rid of Paul Lambert. They've got new ownership in. And for all the problems they've had, and I understand where the fans are coming from, I'm not belittling you for being annoyed at the state of affairs. They're still in with a shout of a playoff place. If not, I mean, they're only 11 points off an automatic playoff place, and they're playing pretty good football. They were quite impressive, I believe, against Oxford. They didn't look like a bad side. Portsmouth, on the other hand, have lost 4 straight. They sacked their manager, which I think was always coming, especially after the EFL Cup defeat, was Salford City put them to the sword without ever scoring a goal. Obviously, they're only 3 points off a playoff berth, so anything can change in a week, but it is looking gloomy down at the Harbour, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, I think they need a big name. They're hoping for a big name manager to come in. I mean, somebody like somebody at the head of Disney. Maybe they'll defrost Walt and get him in there.
Yeah, why not?
But a big name, hopefully not Carl Robinson, that can just rejuvenate the side and get them playing with a bit more of an attacking vigour. Ipswich lost 2-0 to Fleetwood today, Thomas, so I'm not sure where you're seeing this improvement, because I see 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and they're pretty much where they are. This is a side that, yes, okay, they did play well against Oxford, but they shouldn't be struggling against anyone in this league, except for maybe Portsmouth and Sunderland. So
you understand that the spectre of Paul Lambert still sits over this club like a mediocre ghost.
What do the good farming folk of Ipswich have to do for you to stop mentioning Paul Lambert?
Do you mean ex-managers of clubs? Because it's all I do.
If it needs another wicker man, then you got to get it done, because this is ridiculous. Right, quickly, who do you think will end this now? Give your score prediction quickly, Tom.
I have a 0-0 draw.
Okay, I'm going to 1 win for Pompey. Who do you think should be the Portsmouth manager?
Ronan Curtis is the best player. He can definitely manage this team. You?
Well, I've had a quick look up and down of the shortlist of the candidates, and I think they could do a lot worse than Kenny Jackett. Rochdale versus Peterborough United.
It's your favourite club versus the...
No, I'd say not my favourite club. They're my most beloved club.
Yes. Ian, it's your most beloved club versus a team that just refuses to take first place in the league. Peterborough currently sit 2nd. They're 3 points off first place. They do have 2 games in hand, but their recent form...
They won today.
I know they won today. They lost 2 straight before that and drew the match before there.
Yeah.
And
they had the Oxford curse, though, mate. They got to get rid of the Oxford curse.
And I understand that, but I'm just saying, like in that classic way that Peterborough seems to do, they just don't want to win this league this season. Every time it opens up in front of them, every time Lincoln or Hull drop points, they're just like, I got it. But brilliant team, incredible attacking side, 2nd most goals in the league, absolutely fantastic. Rochdale, absolutely garbage at the back, and nothing going forward anymore. Their 43 goals scored this season have not been that helpful. And I know you're going to say something like, they won their most recent game, you don't know what you're talking about, you just don't like football. But they'd lost 4 or 5 leading up to that. They sit joint bottom with the club that cannot be named, or only ahead of them on goal difference. Rochdale to lose 3-0.
It's very difficult for me to make a case for Rochdale to win this game. 1, because I have a bet on Peterborough to win the league. 2, let me have a look. Let me just... They won their most recent game. You don't know what you're talking about. You are a buffoon. Rochdale have been terrible, but they genuinely shocked me when they beat Lincoln at the weekend. I was really genuinely shocked. I think the best thing you can say about them is they're not cut adrift. They're still in with a chance. You only have to put a couple of wins on the board or a little spell of form and you do jump up. You've seen other sides that were dead and buried, and I'm not talking about Burton, I'm talking about other sides because their form's been better than that. And it's switched around a lot between those bottom sides. A couple of weeks ago, this club that shall not be named were out of it. couple of shit results, and they're now right at the bottom of the league. So it can change very, very quickly. But this is not one that's going to change for them. It's going to be Peterborough all day long. And for the first time this week on results, I'm going to copy you 3-0 Peterborough.
Q, Rochdale winning like 4-0 at home, Peterborough sacking their manager, anarchy, bedlam, fires.
If you want something that will warm the cockles of my heart, that's what will happen.
Shrewsbury Town versus Hull-Chester City.
When Hull played Oxford, they looked excellent, and you can see the review on it we did in the top corner. And it was a good game of football, but Hull just had a bit more quality than Oxford United, and they thoroughly deserved to be one of the top sides in the league. And we got a lot of respect from the Hull fans for saying that. So thank you for the Hull people that came on our channel and said nice things.
You're welcome for us telling the truth.
And it just when I watched them play Oxford, and I know Oxford are a very open side, so it makes every side we play against look way more dangerous than they probably are, because we're maybe a little too open for our own good. I just watch it and I think, how do they lose games? How do you lose games, Hull? I'm gonna guess there must be sides that park the bus, and Shrewsbury could well do that this weekend. And it wouldn't shock me if Hull do have a little blip now because they've got the Oxford curse. But I'm absolutely going to back them because Shrewsbury just exist in this league, and they never really seem to do anything really of note. So 2-0 Hull.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call, Ian. As we know, Hull are top of the league right now, and it's not surprising. Best attack, second best defence. Really impressive against Oxford when we saw them. Shrewsbury Town, on the other hand, have only won one of their last 5 matches. They're not in a relegation battle because they're still 9 points clear, and you just don't feel like anyone outside of Burton is going to put together that sort of 6 or 7 straight win, because none of them are good enough. Most of the clubs in the relegation zone are there because they're not good enough.
Yep, exactly right.
But unless Shrewsbury come out with last season's anti-football and are able to hold off Hull in this, it's not going to be a contest. 3-0 to the Tigers.
Papa John's World Championship champions, Sunderland versus Lincoln City.
Oh, Lincoln. What a bad run of form you're going through. 3 losses in the last 5, only 1 win and a draw sandwiching that. They've fallen out of the automatic playoff places. They're now 4 points behind Peterborough, 7 points behind Hull. They were pacing this league at one point, Ian. Pacing. But a little bit of bad form. They've dropped straight back to the pack. Sunderland are hot on their heels. Oh my God, Sunderland. 4th place in the league now. All the early season doom and gloom. All the terrible things we said. All the frustration as neutrals. For me more than you. But as a neutral, I went through just wondering what the hell this team was doing. Best defense in the league. One of the best attacks right now. And they've finally put together a series of wins instead of drawing everything 1-1. And they look really good. And they look like they could push into those top automatic playoff places. And on this sort of form at this time of the year, you back them. And they've got a game in hand over Peterborough. And they've got 3 games in hand over Hull. I think, Ian, I've got to go for a Sunderland victory here. And I'm feeling Sunderland right now. 3-1.
Yeah, Lee Johnson's doing a really good job there, and he proved me wrong a few weeks ago. I questioned his appointment, but he is proving the doubters in this case very wrong. And they are looking a very good side now. I mean, it just shows you in a 46-game season, you really do go through the full gambit of emotions, don't you? From joy to despair and everything in between. And Lincoln are certainly in that despair category. And obviously I live up here and I know a few Lincoln fans, and they are getting a bit twitchy. And it's such a different mentality when you've been up the top of the league and then you start losing and you feel everybody else closing in around you. You do almost go into games with a let's just not lose mentality rather than to go out to win. Whereas sides, if you look at someone like, say, Oxford, let's say Gillingham, they've got like less to lose because they're still playing catch up on all the other sides. And I just don't. I think injuries and form is catching up to them, and I think Sunderland are going to be quite comfortable winners here. I think it's going to be 2-0 to the Black Cats. And remember, Newcastle fans watching this, any Newcastle fans, when was the last time you won a trophy? Sunderland, Pizza World Champions.
When's the last time Newcastle won a football match?
Well, they'll probably say they won the championship a couple of times, but who cares about that when you've got the Papa John's World Championships at stake? Once again, we roll round to the final match in this weekend's round of fixtures. It's going to be a very emotional live stream. Friendships could be broken on this channel. It is time for the main event.
Ian Allen's Oxford United hosting Tangerine Matt's Blackpool. I like that we have friends on this channel now and we can talk about them. It's nice.
Yes, Thomas, and I hope you're not going to jeopardise your friendship with your co-presenter by backing your new friend's side.
I won't, don't worry.
But then again, let me rephrase that. Are you going to be backing Oxford in this game?
Yes.
You absolute crazy nugget.
Oh,
Blackpool were in the Premiership once. Blackpool were in the Premiership.
So were Oxford.
No, they weren't. Wasn't the Premiership when Oxford were in the league, when we were in the top league?
Branding. All that is branding.
That's true. But look, Oxford had a fantastic return to form. They played all right in the game against Hull, but they were beaten by the better side. But they played fantastically well against Doncaster Rovers and got a brilliant 3-0 victory. Goals were an absolute rarity for Oxford over the last God knows how many weeks, but they stuck 3 away against Donny, and everything seems a lot more right with the world. Suddenly you're looking about upturns in form. Suddenly you're looking about players looking back in form, players coming back from injury. Blackpool continue to be a bit of an enigma, though. You never really quite know what you're going to get from them. They had been in good form, but they've had a couple of stuttery results lately. I mean, they got a 1-1 draw against Burton, which is a good result on the flex because they've been 100%. Absolutely everybody, and it was ex-Oxford United's Luke Garber who stepped up with the equaliser in that one. But we will be doing a preview video for this game, so we don't need to dwell on it too much. But I think Tom is a nutcase if he's going to be back in Oxford. I have to back them because
never show weakness.
I can't show weakness, and I think Oxford. I think Oxford are going to win the game 2-1.
Ian, I believe if you actually look at our record of predicting Oxford matches, I am better at it than you because I'm allowed to show weakness. Therefore, I can.
Well, that's a false narrative, then, isn't it? Like, what can I?
It's not. It's not because then when I back them when they're winning, then I still get it right.
Yeah, but I don't have a choice. At the start of the season, when they were truly dreadful, I didn't have a choice.
As the old saying goes, Ian. Nope.
Typical.
Really quickly.
Look at him.
Wow.
I grew up in Chicago. Which side shall I pick? I like that one. They're top. I'm a Cubs fan as well. Remember that.
No one else ever
Don't
hears
give a fuck about the Cubs. Nobody cares about the Cubs. Nobody cares about the Cubs, Thomas. They just care that you just looked at Man United and thought, I'm going to support them because they're top.
Why you gotta be so mean? Why you gotta name call right now? It's not very nice. I won't be here anymore. Blackpool are only 3 points behind Oxford. They're in 12th. I think they might actually be going through a bit of an Oxford run right now. They've drawn 4 of their last 5 matches. Oxford fans, you all know what it feels like to have a side that just wants to draw its way through every game. They do have a win in there, unlike Oxford that had a loss that really kicked that off. But Oxford look really strong right now, and especially with Taylor back in the goals, with Daniel Adgington III playing, Jeremiah Sykes getting game time. I think they're going to win this. I think they're going to win it 2-0. Also, you predicted Oxford to concede?
Blackpool crazy.
Woo! Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I have to very quickly do some housekeeping. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers, including Matt, ESPN Uranko of Grandstand Betters, PJ Simpson, Matthew Bowden of the Cricket World Series, and I know what you want.
I'm going to say, no, but he has requested it, and he did get, because he got the Oxford score right at the weekend, he has requested that we call him Soothsayer Brother Allen instead of Brother Allen.
And last but not least, Soothsayer Brother Allen, who will return to Pessimistic Brother Allen after this week. Please, if you have an Oxford United prediction, send it to us next week because it's already too late to send it in this week. But we love that you guys are still contributing and taking part in this. Please support us on Patreon. Please click like. Please click subscribe. Please send this video to everybody you know. And we will see you on Saturday for the live stream.